Lana Grover from Boise State University. She has been with Boise State, the full-time position, working as an instructional designer and developer for the last 3 years. Historically, there was a great presence of instructional design and development within Northwest Met, and this is just another continuation of that. One of her areas of expertise is mobile technology for learning, so please enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction. Thank you for coming today and already sharing your ideas about mobile. I'm really excited to hear what everyone's doing. So today we will be talking about mobile learning and mobile programs specifically at Boise State. So hopefully it will give you some ideas on what you can do at your own institutions. We'll talk about some of the programs that we have been doing at Boise State that have been very successful for us, and so we continue to design them and reframe them, so your feedback will help us become even better, and hopefully it's a mutual relationship. So to get started, I wanted to ask you about the mobile programs at your institutions. The guys from Carroll College, I think it was Sean and Dan earlier, did a great presentation. I thought, wow, they're right on the right track as far as what I've seen has been working at our program. So this will kind of be a little bit of a launch pad from where we'll use that as a launch pad and go from there. Share a little bit more of the work that we've done. But how many of you have an established mobile initiative or program at your school? So, yep. How many of you would like to have one? How many are you scared of having one? So a lot of you, that's one and the same, right? So Dan pointed out some great points in his presentation earlier, and if you missed that, he was just talking about what do you do when the president comes to you and says, mobile, this is where we need to be, and that did happen at Boise State also. And instructional designers and directors of the CTL are all trying to figure that out. And I did want to mention that I am from the Office of Instructional Design Educational Assessment, and we are under the Center for Teaching and Learning at Boise State. So everything that we do in our office is driven by pedagogy and learning theory and advancing learning theory. We bring the technology in to support that, but we get terrific support from the CTL, we get support from our OIT team. So at Boise State, we have a lot of people that are working to help us with these programs. So I want to acknowledge them in this process also. So with mobile programs, there's a lot of variety. But what I'm going to do, because we've had experience with these, I'm going to share with you the secrets today. This is like top secret, so I didn't even put a bullet on the slide. like an exclusive group can get the secret, and it's actually a two-part secret. So I will tell you the first part of the secret now, and the second part of the secret later. But this is what I've observed by working in these programs. And the first and most important part of the secret is that faculty support and development is a key factor to successful adoption and implementation of emerging technologies. It is key. So the question I have for you is this really a secret though? Because how many times have we been told this, right? Just recently, and in a session that we were in, one of the top trends from the WCET said, faculty require increasing support. In numerous published articles, here, the challenges in digital content, and I'll pull some of these quotes out for you. One of the biggest considerations in adopting the digital curricula is the educators. And again, having instructors help choose the curriculum can increase acceptance. Educators want to integrate technology at a much higher level than they currently are, but need support and assistance to do so. So this has been, we've been getting this message for quite a while. Here's a great little survey. 61% of faculty surveyed here said the reason that they're not bringing technology in is because they have lack training on the new technology. 61%. And then another 49 said, we're not sure how it benefits the learning experience, but you notice in this survey, it's not that the top reason is, I'm not interested. That's not the top reason. There's interest there, and this is what we have seen at Boise State. The interest is apparent, but there are these other factors that are holding them back. Another component to that support and development, as the support needs to be ongoing. It can't just be a one-time shot. They need to have mentors. It needs to be ongoing support to make the adoption of the technology possible, which is an interesting reframe from saying the way we need to adopt technology is to flood the university with iPads. Let's do it. Flood, and then we will adopt. Or we need to push an initiative on our faculty and on our students. That's the way we're going to, by sheer quantity, that's how we're going to make this adoption work. But we have seen it. These programs, we've seen that type of implementation try and take place, right? So when you come to school here, part of your tuition is you get an iPad. Or it's mandatory. Every student is required to have an iPad. How have those programs worked out? Long-term sustainability, they really struggle in that area. And I'm not here to say that there's not some advantage to doing it that way. I think there are advantages. I don't think there's one way to do it, but I think a lot of those programs have struggled to keep and sustain their programming as a faculty development model. Now, because we know that faculty are this critical part to adoption across the whole university, the focus for this discussion will be on the faculty, because they in turn bring that environment into the classroom for the students. And you will see some of those results in the presentation today. But the focus in my presentation today will be the faculty development component and the programs that help support faculty, because they are the root of the success that we have found. So now you know the faculty need to be supported, right? So now maybe as a department you're thinking, great, how do we do that? And what I have found is that there's not one type of faculty member. There's a lot of different types of faculty members to help support, right? Especially now, even each year that goes by, faculty come with more fluency or more awareness of these technologies. So now they're at all different levels. We've got novices, we've got advanced, we've got in between, we've got all sorts of different type of adopters in there. So how do you provide support across the board to all these different types of faculty? So to make it a little bit easier for us to discuss it and to have a common language, I made some analogy to categorize some of the faculty that I've seen come through. I really like swimming, so I kind of use that as an analogy to categorize some faculty members. So you may know this faculty member, the toe dipper. Okay? They call the toe dipper / investigator. So the toe dipper is like, sees the technology there and says, I'm just going to tap in, just going to see what this is about. I need to test the water. I need to see how cold it is. Am I willing to do this? And the toe dipper is important because they want to try and they want to look, but they're scared to death, right? Or they're a very thoughtful investigator, which we have several of at Boise State, who is very deeply concerned about the implications of bringing another tool into the classroom. Can it be effective? Can I use it as a teaching tool? What are the results? You know, and really wants to take their time. So we've got a toe dipper. We've got someone who I'll call the explorer, who says, okay, I'm willing to get in the pool, but I have got to have something to keep me afloat in there. I don't know what I'm doing. I need some water wings. I need a floaty. I need something to keep me up. And a lot of people fall into this category. They're willing to come into the pool, but they're a little sketched out. So they need a little support while they're in the pool. So we have another type, which is what I call the enthusiast, who just, let's go for it. I'm ready to jump in. This is so exciting. Technology is just awesome. This is a new way of looking at things. And they jump in, and some of them can swim and some of them cannot swim, right? So they jump in, and we have a lot of supporting to do depending on their skill level once they jump in. The other one is a practitioner, right? Practitioner is comfortable in the environment. They start using it as a daily practice in their curriculum, in their classroom. They use it to increase their performance, like a lap swimmer. So they become more fluid in the medium, and they kind of have that comfort level. And then I'll also go one more level, which is the pioneer. The pioneer is very comfortable in the water. They're willing to go down deep. They're willing to explore. They want to try things that have not been tried before, and they want to turn over every rock, try new things, and bring new things to the surface. Okay? So we've got this group here of different types of faculty members. And this is just meant to simplify it and give us a common language to talk about. Certainly there's everybody in between here, and it's not intended to make anyone feel less than each other, because they all have very important roles in the programming. So let's see how you do designing a mobile program for one of these categories of instructors. So what I'm going to do is just group you up, and I'm going to have you just brainstorm with each other. If you had an investigator, a faculty member who was a toe dipper, what type of program would you design? What type of experience would you design for them to help them enter into the world of mobile learning? It's okay if you don't know. Maybe somebody at your table already has a mobile program in the works that says, hey, what if you tried this? Try and think a little bit more fluidly and say, maybe we could get a grant for iPads, or maybe we could use this type of resource. At my school, we do this. So it's a brainstorming session to give you some ideas about how to approach these different types of faculty members. So have fun with it, but try and learn from each other in the process. So I'm going to group you into groups. So you four right here. I would like you guys to do the, I want you guys to be the pioneers, actually. Because I know Anna's in there, she's got a lot of experience. I'm going to put her in the pioneer group. Okay? And then this group of 5 practitioners. Practitioner, the lap swimmer. And then group of 3 back here is the enthusiast. And then right here, let's do explorer and investigator. Okay? So you guys have double duty. So just brainstorm it. There's some paper. You can write things down or not write things down. Brainstorm ways you might help introduce them to mobile learning as a faculty member, or how you might support them. Just take a couple minutes.
Pioneer to me in tech is somebody who has experienced something before.
Right, they could have been intuitive at one point, and they went through the different stages.
Exactly.
And to me, they're not afraid of failure.
Yeah, they realize that failure is an outcome and an option that may happen, and it's they're just going to risk it. You know, the pioneer is always that person who wants to take the chance. Of course, they need as much support as they can, but they understand what they've gotten themselves into and probably are going to retreat. Right. A whole lot.
They have experience and they have good in certain times. They're willing to step right in and figure it out. So I think that the first thing would be for them to meet with us and find out what are you trying to do, what are you going to accomplish with this, okay, and what are your ideas? What's going to better support this and fully so you're able to accomplish your end goals. So help them design it, right? So okay, so what tools are you going to use? Are you going to use iPads? Are you going to create a design? So it's more right. So in fact, that's why across the board, so people in Windows programming on Android device, and source you have. So if you're trying to go and use like Pioneer, maybe how do we build that?
Sure. It's the responsibility of the instructional designer, developer, educational technologist, because that blends us all together. Is the educational technologist to kind of elicitate what is it you want to do exactly? How do you want to get to that outcome? And what is your, that's one of the things we've been doing, Mark and myself and Ryan and our team, and doing more of this, we call it requirements and elicitation, where we just sit there and question, you know, because people are like, tell us what you're already doing. No, we're not. You got to tell us first what you really want to do before we start generating quotes, which is a time-consuming activity in our world. You're dealing with departmental people. That's why I have this frustration with people who are embedded technologists who don't do that. They say, oh, go talk to those nice guys in OIC. They'll help you. Yeah, that's a problem.
I want to be still on that to that. So we can talk about it's like, okay, how does this fit? How does this fit? How does this fit? And sometimes, like, you know, maybe the technologist, right, designer or whatever, the perspective of say, you know, what do you think about it that you X, Y, and Z? Or perhaps maybe that's
is your solution really the best solution? Sometimes it's, oh, I want to achieve this, but actually what you guys find out is not the best way to achieve this.
I think the other thing about the pioneer is that if they have that failure, you know, we talked there, run your risk of failure. Failure means having it implode in a classroom in front of 400 people. They're willing to accept that, and they probably already, based on my knowledge of folks, they already have in their brain what's going to happen if that happens.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Always have a help.
Yeah. And it's kind of just as a general observation, and maybe this is that might sound misleading, but it seems like pioneers are usually not tenured faculty. It seems like tenured faculty members are very set in their ways. This is how they do things, this is how they've done it. But like we have these adjuncts, these visiting professors, they're the ones who seem like they're willing to try new things.
In example, when I was at Boise State, I had this professor of organization technology.
It's not a good example, but a little bit higher level
institutes, whatever he could, because he invested so much time in learning, putting it together, he had his own tutorials.
Yeah, it's funny because I really like how she did the 5 different stages of grief and 5 different stages of involving yourself in technology, because I know one of our, he isn't with PSU anymore, but one of our most popular professors is always in the local news about technology things and different things that happen. He's still he's not a professor anymore, but he wanted to use technology. He actually did the keynote at his community lunch for this organization. Randy plays that, and we started talking about him as an investigator because he was so frightened of failure. Failure was not an option because his ego.
Right. His reputation is on the line.
Orlando wouldn't have allowed it. Even when he came here and presented for Northwest County, so you're gonna have your staff there to support me for my PowerPoint meetings, so I can, yeah, there'll be people there.
You have a whole room full of people.
You got a whole room full of people who support you, won't let you down.
Here's my question, quizzes, you know, I mean, it's
So I'm like,
It's funny because, you know, when we first started,
have you thought about
how
using
61%
or they don't want to do
they
it
lack the
this
training.
way, you
Yeah.
know,
And in my experience,
open that up.
we offer the training commission stuff.
there you go. That's
It's like,
part of our
you know, you
goals.
can't have it both ways. Either you want to do it or you don't.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah,
the
right.
thing about the Pioneer,
Yeah, that's very
the
true.
thing about the Pioneer is that they will show up for the training,
Yep.
and they'll bring people with them.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so
So showcase them in some
Yeah,
way.
and then the next semester, we'll have available sessions for them to kind of
Understand that maybe they are practitioners, maybe there's still parts of their teaching where they're getting right, some kind of impediment to them getting to where they want to go, and maybe you know tools that will help them do that. Maybe they are doing polling, but they're not using the quiz.
I think they participate, and for them, it's a long-term commitment. It's not in and out, it's like, I'm staying with this.
Right.
Hell or high water.
It's a commitment. Like the definition of entire year.
Hell or high water, and also make them to start their national. They feel like that's something they can achieve, and they want to share.
It's something that distinguishes themselves too. It makes them stick out because their colleagues aren't doing it.
Right, and they have a couple of things, we experienced this at Boise State,
And maybe making sure they're aware of
here,
those.
here, your learning is much more effective when coming from faculty to faculty. And on
So it's
top
not
of
trying to move them
that
out
is
from
that
journey. We don't
when
want to turn them into
faculty are
pioneers.
looking for an idea,
But we want to
see
make
someone
sure that
else
they don't
demonstrating
expect, well, I always love
that everything starts finding out, oh wow, okay, I can do that, and then I can do that and do this. And so it gets them going, so they see examples.
Right.
Yeah.
And it all
It doesn't apply, yeah. Makes it
the content with each other and with them.
It's not,
You know, you gotta, it isn't just to do it, it's
So like
actually,
from the education background,
you know, have a children, you know, the outcomes. You know,
Right.
my roommate, working thing.
right, I always struggle when we are doing the unit on quadratic equations. So if I could do something, maybe I need to shoot a video
so they have
that I
those
could put on.
Take a couple more minutes and wrap it up. Take 2 more minutes, wrap it up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Window is,
And I think part of the reason resources that come from so successful is because
It's where they are, but you can
well,
help them.
we're on the first stage,
What I try to do is I just
participate in teaching others and makes them young to college.
Right.
And then once they begin to see, they can go on to the college. And those mentors that they have coming up. And so they be on these different levels. And so the institute is regular scholars and there's 2 points where it becomes deeper, right? They might mentor anything here, but also they're finding what they're doing and they're studying research or application to, once you have been recording the increases on the things that they need to do towards research.
Okay, wrap up your discussions.
that's something that we're looking at.
well, I think the thing too for a practitioner is, you know, you don't really spend a lot of time, maybe listening, spend a lot of time getting
We're so smart.
Someone else do it for us. Maybe they're not an explorer, but they're not the investigators where it's going to work. You can kind of move them out of,
Very basic.
you know, they need lessons.
Some of them testing.
you know, they don't just want the language, they're going to put it wrap.
So
You don't want to pass from the desk.
No.
Oh, downstairs? Yeah, downstairs.
Anything next time, next word is going to go. What's this? Can I gank?
Yeah, I can get enough caffeine in it. Sleeping. I know, I don't get rid of that.
It'll be a good one.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half. The bar opens at 5.
Okay, let's wrap it up officially.
Hopefully the other bar's already open.
Yeah, can I get some down? Fill that right in. Makes the emergency sound.
So what I love to see is this type of discussion, and I love that you were starting to talk about all different categories. Well, the pioneer could inspire this, could do this, the investigator, I even heard, you know, you're in one area, you're aspiring to go to another area. The discussion is really good to have, especially with each other, and as we as institutions try and find solutions. These kind of discussions about how we can reach all these different types of faculty, I think will really help inform all of us. So we'll do just a brief round the room and have your group tell us a little bit about some of your ideas for addressing the needs of these faculty. So I'm going to start again here with Anna's group. They are the pioneers, so give us some highlights about what you talked about.
I'll report out for us.
Yeah.
Well, some of the highlights, some of the things we found is that the pioneer is always going to risk failure. They understand that that's part of what they're about. It's part of their core being. We as instructional technologists and techs people, we're going to meet with them and we're going to try and elicitate what it is they exactly want to do. Get that requirement solicitation, and they may come to us with that. They are going to be very approachable in terms of these things. We'll talk to them about what are the tools you want to use. Do you already know what tools you want to use? Also, in the classroom, these are the folks who always have Plan B. Because they risk failure, they know what they need to do if failure occurs, and they are all over that. To describe these faculty, not usually tenured, they're perhaps adjuncts or part-timers, people who are part of the university, but not the tenured faculty that we all know and love. Pioneers will also attend trainings. You know, we were talking about those who don't attend trainings. Now, these people will come to trainings whether there's free pizza or not, and they'll bring others with them. You know, that's what we like most about them. We'd like to showcase their work. We'd like to put them up on a little bit of a pedestal and say, hey, this is a person, here's what they needed, we can do this with you too. They will participate, will commit and stick with it. They're not gonna give up. They're gonna keep working with whoever is supporting them to make it happen. It's a real relationship there. She sees things they want to do, hears from colleagues at other institutions and go, I want to do that. How do I do that? Come to us. How do we help that? And then they have this play it forward mentality that they will, by doing this, create a pathway for those who work with them, whether it's using mobile technology or some other new classroom technology.
Perfect. And I can tell you, you just described some of our faculty at Boise State. To the letter, like I was thinking.
Thank
Some of
you.
our faculty, it's spot on. Beautifully done. All right, so explore, let's see, we had, what group were you enthusiasts? No. Practitioners, okay?
Which one of us?
Okay, so when we talked about practitioners, obviously, we talked about them being really good at swimming like the 4-minute lap, but maybe we can have a discussion with them using Doug's term, because it's really quick, as the elicitations requirement, kind of asking them. Mike brought up, let's just ask them what's working really well for you, and doing a deep dive from them and finding out exactly what they need and how we can help them. Maybe they get to a point in their class where there's tools they could use that they haven't thought of. They just know they hit this point in their class where their lap they start swimming slower and they want to be able to pick that up. And we know we don't have to worry about technophobia with them. We don't have to put a big raft in the pool with them. And we're going to be able to show them how to kind of get where they want to go and show them the facts. But they're not going to need, like, practitioners, the kind of person, frankly, we probably end up partnering with an investigator, because the investigator's like, it's going to fail, and I'm going to look bad, I'm going to get bad reviews from my students. A practitioner's like, no, I've got it down. But we have to be careful with them not just getting in the rut and getting that lap pool, expanding that pool so they know what the tools are, but not overwhelming them. And so they can keep on growing and developing so they can get better. Because even the person swimming lap miles wants to make it so they can swim a lap in 3.5 minutes instead of 4. So give them those tools, but always go back to them and go back to how is this going to help your teaching, and here's some resources you may not have thought of.
Beautiful. I love that analogy, and I love the idea of in the lap pool. You know, if you're a lap swimmer, you know you hit a plateau, right? You hit a plateau. Guess what helps you get over that plateau? Working out with a group helps you work over that plateau. Helping teach other people to swim helps you get over that plateau. It's perfect analogy. So excellent. You guys did a great job. I think there's so many ways that you're crossing over, but you're really describing exactly what we're seeing with our faculty in these different stages. Okay, the group in the back got the tricky one, the enthusiasts. Tell us a little bit about that, Mark.
All right, so we know this is the person that's jumping off the cliff, whether there's water there or not. And, if we know about this person, we want to try to guide them to be able to hit the water. And often, these aren't the people we know about until they land.
Oh my gosh.
And so with that, we want to try to identify them and work with department chairs, supervisors, whatever that happens to be. What are some of the people that need some help, and can we guide them? They're out there, they're excited, they want to do some things, but we know these are going to take some one-on-one attention. It's not going to be a group thing that's going to capture these people. And if we can pair them up with a pioneer to mentor them that they trust, great. And we want to really build the relationships, and some of the things that I've taught. And when we do deal with them, match their enthusiasm.
Perfect. Excellent. I heard a lot of discussion also about keeping them on track pedagogically and keeping the students as well as the faculty engaged in that. What a great description, right? The enthusiasts. I love how Mark, and it just makes me laugh inside because jumping whether there's water or not. And that is a perfect description, right? Because I've seen it, you've seen it, and let's try and get it. Let's get a small puddle at least underneath quickly, right? Let's get something, and then hopefully through the support of all our programs, we can provide a big, beautiful lake for them to jump into. So, great job. All right, this group had both the investigator and the explorer. So, what are some things you came up with, Bob?
Well, so we talked about a lot of things, and so I'm also from Boise State. And some of our programs are more developed than others here at this group. And so one of the things about, I think, that we were trying to figure out is how do you get things started? Where do you get that investigator to get the nerve to put their toe in? How does that happen? How does that occur? So do a lot of support or looking who is coming back to check out maybe equipment to get them to kind of encourage them to put their toe in the water.
Perfect. How to get them to even approach the beach area. I do have a lot of faculty who are peering across the beach. You know, like, I know you're out there, but do I really, if I put my toe in, am I going to be obligated to go into my ankles? How far is this going to go, you know? And I don't want to drown, right, for investigator. So thinking about how can we support that initial toe dip and make it a safe environment. What about the Explorer?
So for the Explorer, having programs like the Mobile Learning Institute, which is in May, to get the people who have put the toe in and like it and want more. And where can they go to safely explore their options and see what's available?
Perfect. Providing some type of support that feels comfortable, that gives them a chance to get acclimated to the environment, and that could be, you know, some of our practitioners, some of our pioneers to help support them as well, and our programs can really give them that kind of flotation that they need while they're getting used to it. So you guys did a great job, I think, looking at this from all the right angles, and now that we've kind of looked at those, I wanted to show you some examples of what Boise State has done in their programming to help support these type of faculty. And with your ideas and ours together, I think we can come up with some great programming. So before I move directly on to our programs, I wanted to tell you the second part of the secret, which is also very confidential. But you know, the first part is that you actually have the answers. You actually know the answers of how to do this at your school. You know, because you know teaching, and you know that environment, and you understand technology and the fluidity of it, so you know and you understand it. It's a matter of designing it and making it sustainable. But the second part of that secret is that emerging technology can be a catalyst for pedagogical change. That's part 2 of the secret. And I've seen it, and it can be used, it can be leveraged that way because of the nature of technology, its innovative spirit. It can spark change in pedagogy. Change that we've had a hard time changes we've had a hard time making for a long time in education. And it can provide the enthusiasm, the drive, and the nerve, right? If there is an investigator who's nervous about the technology, if you get them in and they start learning how to swim, you can't even stop them. And when you have that momentum behind it, you can say, here's a different way of working with your students. This takes away, use the mobile device to take away this barrier, and you can actually engage with your students. You don't have to be tied up here to a podium. Let's try this. It allows them the opportunity to try something that they have not tried before, and I've seen it motivate them more than other things. So that's the second part of the secret. So now I'll show you how we put the 2 parts of the secret into action. So with our mobile programs, we have 3 large components to our mobile programs. And they all support one another, and they all help sustain one another. And it's a really great process once you kind of see it laid out. We have the Mobile Learning Scholars, and I'll go into detail on each one of these, and it has 3 tiers to it, 1.0 through 3.0. We have the Mobile Learning Summer Institute, which is a 3-day institute that we have in the spring. Let me go back and tell you the Mobile Scholars is our cohort-based program that goes from semester to semester with faculty participants from all over campus. The Mobile Device Checkout Program is a program that we have where faculty can check out mobile devices for their classroom on a short-term basis, and by short-term I mean up to 2 weeks at a time. They can check out a set of iPads for their classroom. Again, I'll go through all the details on each one of these, but that's kind of the overview. So in the overview, I want to mention that these programs are supported by the Center for Teaching and Learning. They're facilitated by our office, the Office of Instructional Design and Educational Assessment. And the resources that we have are our instructional design team. I'm the primary lead on that, but we have 4 other instructional designers that help support it. And we have a fleet of iPads, of 260 iPad Air 2s. That's what we currently have. We serve the entire university with these programs through that small fleet. So we haven't invested into a massive fleet of hardware for this. I just want to make note of that. Our IT group on campus does offer also checkouts of iPads for short term, like 24, 72 hours. Our programming is more in the programming channel versus these kind of individual checkouts, and I'll describe more about that. But we have a lot of institutional support around us, is what I'm kind of implying there. So, the Mobile Learning Summer Institute is a 3-day conference that we hold in the spring, and this is a great program for which type of faculty do you think? A 3-day institute, so that's their investment. We have faculty mentors at the institute. The incentive that they are offered is an iPad that they they keep as long as they're teaching at Boise State. That's their incentive for attending the 3-day institute. It supports exploration and practice. So which types of faculty is that going to be good for? Investigators, right? Toe dippers. It is good for toe dippers.
Pioneers will just sign up.
Pioneers will
Always sign up.
Well, always sign up. Now, here's the interesting thing, and I'll give you more details. That was kind of a hard question to ask you, not knowing the background about it all. But our pioneers, here's kind of the cool part about it. Our pioneers are actually running the institute. Okay? So the institute is really good for our toe dippers and for our explorers who have kind of a certain comfort level already with the technology. And let me show you why. Our model is to train faculty first on the technology before flooding students with the technology. So at this institute, you can see our instructional designer, Devshika Bose here, and she's helping the faculty member get acclimated to the device. So we focus on faculty first, but here's the really interesting part. We have, at our institute, we have faculty mentors. So in this case, we have an iPad boot camp where they come in and we give them the device for the first time when they come in, and we have them meet with a faculty member that has already gone through these programs, and they help them set up their iPad. They walk them through a checklist of things that they need to go through, and then they ask them pedagogically driven questions. So the mentor will say, how are you thinking of using this? And why did you sign up for this? So immediately we start building a relationship for a long-term community of learning.
Are these mentors in the same discipline as the
No.
other person, or cross-discipline?
Across the whole campus, all disciplines. And in some cases, like if in our mobile scholars, we'll team them up within disciplines for certain projects. But we have someone here from engineering with someone here from world languages. So they're walking them through this setup process. So they come in, start helping them. This is another example of faculty teaching faculty. And throughout this whole institute, this is kind of the main model. We are not doing the training as instructional designers. We design it, we frame it, and then we bring the pioneers in so they can hone in their skills even further, so they can share, so they can build a robust community of learners. Small group breakouts. Here our engineering faculty is teaching this group how to do guided notes or interactive note taking. He was showing examples from his engineering course, and he's showing it to his group of faculty from all different disciplines. So we have the 3 days. We do breakout sessions, we do the boot camp. We also have faculty who present on main stage, and they share examples of how they're using mobile devices in their classroom. We have an instructor from the humanities on the left, and speaking of digital storytelling, she had her students use iPads to do a cultural tour across a country of interest, and they placed themselves in Italy or placed themselves in Spain, and they did a whole cultural tour that way. Our Christian Pacala here is one of our great pioneers in mobile learning. He's talking about how he used a variety of tools in his engineering course, large course, 120 students, how he used mobile devices in classrooms. So faculty are sharing how they're using it in their classroom with other faculty, which as a faculty member you know is like gold. I want to know how you're doing it. What are you doing? How are the students reacting? What were you afraid of? How did you overcome that?
Is that like a set thing, like every month you're going to have somebody display and other people come, or is that just like a one-off, or how do you do that?
This is in the institute, the 3-day institute.
Oh, it's okay.
Yep.
Part of that.
And then we have faculty associates for our mobile programs that can meet one-on-one with faculty throughout the year. So another component of this, and it's a good question Lynette posed earlier, which is how do you, with all these different types of faculty that even come into the institute, because we could have investigators, we could have explorers, we even have practitioners who want to sign up for the institute. And I will note that the iPad is an incentive to attend, but typically our demand is greater than we have resources for. So many faculty will attend using their own iPad. So typically we give out 15 to 20 iPads and that's it for the whole institute. So our costs for hardware and incentive are incredibly low. So as these learners come in, they have different degrees of abilities. So we customize learning. We give them different challenges, novice and advanced. We categorize them. We do fun things like the Iron Chef you may be familiar with. We did an Iron App Smash where they had to pick mystery apps and smash them together. Smashing means bring them together to create one thing. So they had to smash them together and create a mobile activity in their classroom, and they had to present it in the Bronco tank, like the Shark Tank, the next morning. So the way we diversified the learning there is the advanced attendees presented their mobile activities to the beginners in the institute. So the beginners had the opportunity to see how they used apps to build a mobile activity in their classroom, and the advanced participants had the opportunity to practice on a group before they took it in their classroom. So that's the way we customize learning. Here's some example. And I have to tell you, I was a little nervous when we first did this. I thought, oh my gosh, it's too hard, it's too much. I gave them way too much. They're going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. They came in the morning to present in the Bronco tank, and I was blown away, including Bob Casper, who's sitting here. They pulled together the most amazing activities and just really surpassed my expectations. Activities they could go to their classroom and implement immediately. I was so excited and so proud of them. So they presented, they used avatars and to answer questions about wolf relocation in the biology department. They used science fiction worlds to describe learning objectives. They used literature, like searches on the iPad to discover new children's literature. We also wanted them to understand that a mobile device, one of the reasons that we are exploring it is because we don't see it as a replacement for a laptop. It has mobility. It's very important. We have a campus that has a lot of non-traditional students. This mobility, the GPS location is very important. So we sent them on a scavenger hunt across campus where they were in teams, and there was a home base that they were reporting into, and we could see their progress across campus. They had to take pictures, they had to gather audio, they had to upload all these artifacts where they'd been all over campus, and then kind of roll it into a presentation. So the mobile device checkout program, of the 260 iPads, I reserve about 30 out for this program. Faculty can come in, they can sign up, check it out for 2 weeks. I deliver the iPads in the classroom. The students can take the iPads home with them. They can bring them to school and back and use them in other classes. But this has been really effective. Some of the things that faculty have done, we have a physics instructor who does a great activity where they take the iPads on top of our parking garage at night and they map the stars with the apps. And then they cross-reference it with one of their super microscopes. This was a really fun activity to be a part of, and she does it. It's one of their favorite activities that they do all year. We have faculty in respiratory therapy that uses the iPads so students can really look at the nuance of chest x-rays. Sitting in a classroom, they were having a hard time seeing those on a projection screen. They couldn't see them like they needed to. So they use the iPads to be able to explore them a lot better. We did community planning, did a big project. We have a great green belt that goes through here at Boise, and they teamed up with Parks and Rec to do a survey on the green belt and identify places for repair and to change traffic flow. And then they went back to the classroom, and because that data was uploaded immediately, the students could immediately get into the data, which is not typical. They could immediately get into the data and start crunching it and make solutions and make presentations right after they had done the survey. our mobile learning scholars is probably the core of all of these programs. This is the cohort model. Faculty apply to be part, they put in an application to be part of the cohort. They meet together as faculty from all over campus. They receive training, they receive support, direction, but most of all, they talk with each other. They say, this is what's working in my classroom. I can't figure this out. Can you help me? So I have a full cohort every fall and every spring semester. And so what I typically do, there's about 15 to 16 participants every semester, and I break them into 2 groups. I meet with them twice a month. We all meet together, and then I meet with them individually. And we've done that every semester. We reach about 600 students per semester just through the cohort. One of the benefits of being in the cohort is that they receive iPads for all of their students for the full semester. So this could be an explorer, and this could be a practitioner, right? I'm ready. I've used the mobile checkout program. I've kind of sampled it. I feel comfortable. Let's do it. Let's do it for the whole semester. All their students have devices so they can see what full implementation looks like. The path of progression for them is to now be able to go the next semester with the devices the students are bringing from different platforms, different makes, different models. They understand the environment better. They know how it works. We help them design universal projects that way. So within Mobile Scholars, there's 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Explorers, practitioners, pioneers. Okay, our pioneers are doing full year research, IRB approved, big research projects. 2.0, hey, I've gone through this rodeo, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want to focus on. Just like you guys said, you described a 2.0s, you guys described a 3.0s. 1.0, we're exploring, we're trying to figure this out. We have these 3-tiered programs of the cohorts. The 3.0s help teach the 1.0s. The 3.0s and 2.0s come teach our institute. Our summer institute, 90% of our institute was taught by faculty. 90% of a 3-day institute was taught by faculty to faculty. So our mobile learning scholars, their incentives are students get devices, they get ongoing support through our instructional design consultants and through me especially. And here we're into publishing and presenting. So our 3.0s are at conferences, they're publishing now, and now they're serving the greater community. So they're our big pioneers. So those are our 3 programs. Here's some images from our cohorts. We have a lot of great time exploring not just mobile. We know mobile will continue to evolve into new and emerging technologies. So here we're exploring a little bit of virtual reality with the mobile devices. Here's Krishna, huge implementation of mobile in his engineering course. Interactive quizzes, interactive notes, group work, narrated problem solving. Amazing implementation here. We did a full mobile program with our construction management department. You can see they have iPads, I love this, and their belts, their construction belts. They used them to get the blueprints. Construction management companies are really excited about what Boise State's doing because of the implementation of iPads. They're across the industry, so it's really important for them to know this technology, of tablet technology especially. So full implementation in construction management. We've done some exciting projects with building e-text. You may know our Basque Studies program is really exciting at Boise State. We have a large, wonderful Basque community. So one of our instructors had his students build a chapter of an iBook about a particular cultural character in context with changing cultures of our time. They did some amazing work. The students built these iBooks on different designers and people from history. They had interactive maps and components in them. We also had one of our mobile scholars had her graduate students collect content and create an e-book, not an iBook, but an e-book that for the Idaho Black History Museum that documented a full history that there's no published work on that will be shared through to junior high students throughout the state of Idaho that they can read on a web browser or an e-text reader. So that was a great asset that came back into Idaho and helped support Idaho. A lot of community and partner relationships like that. So that's a lot of information about our mobile programs, but I hope you can see that your exploration on the different types of faculty members, we have tried to address and support all those different types of faculty members. So with that in mind, we're right at time, but thinking back on what you discussed today in your groups about how you might support faculty and how you might build mobile programs, couple it with your discussions and what Boise State is doing and see if there might be possibilities at your school, resources that you could use to start building a cohort model or a small, even a one-day institute of some kind, maybe a small checkout program. Again, we facilitate all of this with a very small fleet of iPads, so it's definitely possible. So if you have any questions or you'd like to brainstorm any ideas, I would love to. And our office is always trying to find new ways and innovative ways to bring emerging technology into the classroom. So I'd welcome any of those. Are there any questions I can answer right now?
Do you use mobile device management, and so what is it?
Yes, we do. We have, we just moved to Jamf. And thankful to OIT for helping us set that up. That's something, they have a great management system in place and they help support us with that. So all our iPads are managed through Jamf. I've been able to recover some. We found a couple up in Seattle last year, so that was exciting. But it's been a great management system so far. And all the iPads are inventoried. When we check out iPads to students, this is important, we have them sign a contract of responsibility. So they take on responsibility for the device while they have it checked out. And if something does happen with the iPads, we have had a great, they're great quality and we haven't had many repairs, but if we do, we work with them to get a payment system going or something. But it's a low instance, and the iPads are kind of a jumping point, but we've supported Android and Windows and things like that, especially when we can help get faculty into that explorer mode when they're in the pool. When they get comfortable and they can go away from the edge a little bit, we can say, hey, look, Android does the same thing. Windows does this, oh, even better. So we can kind of steer them in the direction that they need to go. So that's how we have a management system set up and an inventory system. Everything's barcoded and everything like that. And it has been surprisingly, I wouldn't say easy to manage, but we have a great IT manager too. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll be excited to hear about your mobile programs in the future. Thank you.
Before you turn it off.
The cash probably opens at 5, so there's some free time.
I just want a selfie with the rock stars.
You can meet us lobby 10 minutes or hang out around here.
Okay, let me check on things.
Yep.
See
Nope.
if I can.
Yep.
Not allowed.
I want to get your screen in the back.
Gotta be good. Yeah. There we go.
It's very exciting.
Awesome. I hope it's a focus.
Let's try it. That would be
Yeah, because
Do you want a better slide?
It's up to you. That's what's going on.
Didn't use
We'll go shop with you, either by the slide or somewhere.